Quarterback Tuesday. First to the stage, CJ Bailey. Rising sophomore quarterback for the NC State Wolfpack. How do you feel about CJ Bailey, Wolfpack Nation?
I'm a fan of his.
I am as well. I've had some interactions with some NC State fans, and I think they're really excited, but I think they don't want anybody to know they're really excited about CJ Bailey. I think they're holding themselves back from letting their excitement go full haywire for CJ Bailey. I mean, I'll use a term that Justin Jolie actually used on his Twitter. He says CJ Bailey is one of them ones, right? Which is a very high compliment. Basically saying he don't sleep on him. And we talked to Justin Jolie about it at ACC Media Day. He didn't like where CJ Bailey was coming in with some of the preseason rankings of quarterbacks and things, and he wanted everybody to know that his quarterback is one of them ones. Seems like fans want to whisper that amongst friends rather than shout it to the rooftops for NC State. They want to go, CJ Bailey. Second best true freshman season for a quarterback. School history. Only one better, Phil Rivers. Andy, he didn't even start the season as a starter, right? He was backing up Grayson McCall. He was thrown in there. Andy was 17 years old because he was really young coming out of high school. Andy's put on 20 pounds. Andy's done this. Andy's done that. But nobody wants to yell it loud. It's almost like they were burned last year, and State fans maybe burned a bunch of years from getting too boisterous in preseason. So this year, it's the overcorrection. Like last year, we celebrated too openly about how awesome the transfer portal was. So this year, we're not going to believe anything until we don't only see it, but see it 2, 3, 4 times. Bailey's going to be good for a month before they start championing him in a way that is public.
I think, honestly, you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. As a graduate from NC State myself, in the past, the hype does tend to get a little carried away versus the actual product. I think people are excited about CJ Bailey. They are cautiously optimistic, but my sense of it is a lot of people are kind of distracting themselves with the Will Wade basketball of it all and are hoping to kind of be like pleasantly surprised if there's some good success in the football field this year. So I think you've got it pretty right there. As
a full team, I don't doubt that at all. And I actually think it's kind of the way Dave Doran chooses to operate is a little bit of like, don't talk about it, be about it. Like if everybody wants to focus on Belichick, if everybody wants to focus on Will Wade, we're just going to put our work in here in the shadows.
Yeah. And
then hopefully on game day, we'll have something to surprise you with.
They operate a lot better as underdogs too.
I'd agree with that as well. Sometimes it feels, and never was this more true than the Brennan Armstrong year a couple years ago, where it's like, as soon as everybody counts them out, then all of a sudden they're a fantastic team.
Yeah, it was like a big, resounding swell in the second half of the season behind
Brennan Armstrong playing like a grown bleep man.
Yeah, after I'm already forgetting the name of the
MJ Morris.
Yes, after he came back in, everyone was so hyped to see him play again, and then for Brennan Armstrong to come back from being benched.
So
and kind of take over. It was mostly led by the defense, which is always what NC State's MO typically is, but.
So here's where I'm going with this. Team-wise, everything Max just said is true. CJ Bailey-wise, I'm going to give you the reason I am most excited about this player as a quarterback. And it's the last 2 games of the year. He played well versus UNC, and even in the loss for ECU, he threw it decent. Okay? I'm talking as a passer here. His 2 worst games as a passer were the Duke and Georgia Tech game, which were their 4th and 3rd to last games of the year, right? So he went Duke and Georgia Tech and then followed that up with UNC and ECU. And that's from 2 of his worst games as a passer to 2 good games, right? I'm not saying they were the most unbelievable, but UNC and ECU, he threw it well. And that is one of the more difficult things to evaluate, one of the more difficult things. I don't even know if you can teach it. And it's one of the more important things for a quarterback. I don't buy into quarterbacks. You will hear me being very, very trepidatious. Quarterbacks at all levels until I see them struggle and get it back. Because they're like it's the one-hit wonder thing, right? I've seen quarterbacks, Panther fans. Remember Kyle Allen started 5-0, and then what happened, right? No disrespect to Kyle Allen, like he kind of got quote unquote figured out. And there's examples of that all through college. There's examples of that all through the NFL.
They call that regression to the mean.
It's regression to the mean, and it's some guys when they have some success, their brain goes perfect, and then some guys when they have some success, their brain goes, how do I stay one step ahead of the curve? How do I figure this out? Okay, now they're figuring me out. What's my counter punch? Once you prove that you're a great counter puncher, that you can get knocked in the face and come back swinging, then I think that's just part of your DNA. That's how you're going to be moving forward. The most obvious example I get of this, and it might be the most obvious because he's the best doing it right now, but it's Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes burst onto the scene, rookie year, first year as a starter, billion touchdowns. The second year, they figured him out. Oh, they were giving him all too high safeties, too high shell, everybody deep. Can't throw it deep to Tyreek Hill over the top if we send everybody deep. They figured him out, and he struggled for like 6 games, and then he figured it out. And I went, uh-oh. Guy that talented, guy that much arm talent, guy that much improbability is also somebody that gets punched in the mouth and doesn't lose it, doesn't get discouraged, keeps moving forward. He's going to be around a long time. Now, you may say, it took you that long to buy into Patrick Mahomes? He had like 50 touchdowns and won MVP his first year as a starter. Yeah, but it's not until you get punched in the mouth do I know if it's sustainable. I'm not saying C.J. Bailey was awful in those games. I'm not saying he, got knocked down to the canvas and they were counting to 10 and made it to 8 before he stood up. But having a rough patch as a true freshman starter at the power conference level and bouncing back against 2 rivals like UNC and ECU, and I know ECU was a loss, I'm talking individually, and playing better as a passer, as a decision maker in those games, I'm excited about that. And it gets to the point now because every quarterback, every single one faces tough moments. Every single one is going to throw an interception that loses a game. Every single one is going to have rough patches. If you can get yourself out of that rut fast, if you can adjust, I'm excited about you. And then we can start looking at all of the physical things. Then we can say, and he's 6'6", maybe pushing 6'7". Some reports out there that he grew another inch this offseason, that he's, instead of 190 or 192, whatever he was last year, he might be pushing something like 210, 215, maybe at the beginning of camp 220. Still a skinny guy, but add to it a little bit of durability, has the rushing touchdowns. Even in some of those games I was saying he struggled as a passer, he was still finding the end zone with his legs. Like there's other things to get excited about once you know he has that bounce back ability, that I don't even know what the official term is, that durability of mind.
He's got that Scotty Scheffler.
A little bit
bounce
of Scotty
back.
Scheffler. Like, once Scotty Scheffler bogeys, bet the house he's going to birdie the next one. And it doesn't even have to be that, right? The Scotty Scheffler's the best doing it. If you're just somebody who can guarantee after a bogey you're going to par, right? That's what a quarterback has. You have to throw an interception, have a bad game, and the next game come back. The football cliche is when you're down 14, there's no 15-point play. Right? You can't make it all up in one play. You just have to continue making good decision after good decision after good decision and let your physical ability stand out. So there's a lot to like when you go back and watch. Like C.J. Bailey has a real whippy arm, right? He spins it. He doesn't have to be a guy that's 6'6", 245 to have a strong enough arm to make all the throws. His form allows him to use the long levers that he has and really whip it out there. Like, there are things to like, but the thing I'm most excited about is the fact that struggles don't rattle him in the way we've seen it rattle guys who it becomes their fatal flaw. It is a confidence position. You're going to hear me say that a lot, right? It's Quarterback Tuesday. One of the all-knowing truths I have about quarterbacks is quarterback is a confidence position. And what I mean by that is very simple. And I've been saying this when I was a player and before. You can't hesitate because you're worried about the outcome. If I throw this interception, everybody's gonna. If I throw this interception, coach is gonna. If this isn't complete, so and so is gonna get mad. Because if you're thinking that before you let it go, you're too late. CJ Bailey, and by the way, it's easy at the beginning of the year. Before you have your first two interception game, you cut it loose, let it fly. Everybody's Brett Favre. You have your first day at practice and training camp where the defense is talking trash and they're getting the better of you. The next day, that's the day it's tough to cut it loose and not hesitate and play instinctually. CJ Bailey, I believe, showed the signs of being on the right side, the good side of that argument last year, and I'm more excited about that than any stat you tell me.